Hello, and welcome to another Inebriated Warriors Cats review. I am Crow, and as stated, I am inebriated. um, so today we are going over the Prophecies Begin Book 5, A Dangerous Path, and it's different than I remember. Just because, I completely lost my train of thought. Okay. I'm somewhere up there. And it took the thought and ran away with it. Now I don't know what it was. Oh yeah, the book's different. I thought the dogs spanned like a book and a half, and they only showed up in the last half. And it happened so much faster than I remember. But of course, the only thing I remembered about this book was that Blue Star died and there were dogs, and that's how Blue Star died. And I knew that Swiftpaw was in there somewhere. But I didn't really remember anything else, and it just seemed like a much longer book, I thought. And I also, Blue Star is the only fictional character that I have ever sobbed over. To the point, like, I remember reading this book in my bed at home, and I remember I got up and I went to my mom's room and got in bed with her, and I was just hysteric that Blue Star had died, and I'm sure she was very confused about what I was saying. But she didn't want me to read the books anymore. It's like, no, I gotta know what happens. And so I continued reading. As stated, there are dogs. Blue Star dies. That's more towards the end. Blue Star is definitely getting more senile in this book, even more aggressive to the point that she thinks everybody's a traitor. And she's losing it. And I don't really remember Blue Star that way. Let me say this. She became a rather unlikable character. I mean, even if you have empathy for the things that she went through, like reading Blue Star's prophecy, because I have, but you also just... Oh, the thought went away again. Okay, well, maybe it'll come back. Blue Star is, she's a character. You know how good she is, and then she gets like this towards the end of her life. And I don't think that makes her likable in the end. It definitely, I mean, you feel for her, absolutely. Like, her death scene is painful. But still, just all the things that she went through. And you want to have empathy for her, but she, at the end there, she's so beyond reason that I feel like she becomes an annoyance and a blockage more than anything. So, but I think she's a realistic character. I think she's very well written. Even though she goes kind of crazy, she's still well written. My telling the major plot developments is really coming through with thoughts on it. And in that same vein, Greypool dies. She was the Eldrin River clan that raised Mistyfoot and Stonefur. She was also senile. She meets Tigerstar in the forest and thinks he's Oakheart and talks about those ThunderClan kits you brought me. And then she realizes that it's not Oakheart, and she falls and, I assume, busted her head open or something, because she did. And so Tigerstar knows about Mistyfoot and Stonefur, just not who the cats are. And towards the end, Fireheart reveals that Blue Star is their mother to keep them from killing her. And then they're there at the end saying that they want to help bury her. And they also say, she asks for forgiveness in the very end, and they forgive her forgive her. Let's see. Yeah, so the dogs are a result of Tiger Star laying a path of rabbits plus Brindleface's body in a nice little row. And it's actually interesting because I'm not sure if I read the prologues the first time that I read this series. I know I did by the time I got to Power of Three. I'm not sure if I read the prologues before that. And now I know they're very important. But we actually see the dogs getting out from the dog's point of view. And that's pretty cool. And I think it puts you on edge for the rest of the book because you want to know what happens and you don't know what's going to happen. Or I think that's just the description of a plot. But it amps you up for this enemy that you know is really, really bad. And you really only get that in the second half of the book. Tiger Star also is meeting up with Dark Stripe, and Dark Stripe brings Bramble Kit and Tawny Kit to go meet him, which was a whole thing. And then Tiger Star wants his kits back, and once they become apprentices, so Fireheart is Bramble Paw's mentor to keep an eye on him mostly. And that's one of the only times that I've thought that Fireheart is truly like, you're wrong on this one, buddy. Like, the fact that it's nice to give him flaws, because there's not really any reason to be worried about Bramble Kit being like his father. Nature versus nurture, or something like that. And Fireheart is so suspicious of him. Yeah. So that's a flaw that Fireheart has. Anyways. There's also a fight. Oh, or there's an almost fight. Well, there is a fight. There's a fight and an almost fight. The almost fight was because Fireheart was bringing the talk about some beast in the woods that's leaving these rabbit carcasses to Blue Star, and Blue Star surpasses all evidence and goes to Wind Clan is stealing our prey. And it gets into a big fight, not like a battle, but verbal fight, because she announces this at a gathering and Tallstar was not impressed. And so Fireheart actually has to go to Wind Clan to warn them, or he doesn't warn them. Blue Star is going to attack and he's the only one who knows. He goes and gets Ravenpaw to bring him. Basically, Wind Clan and Thunder Clan meet at the Four Trees and they have a very tense talking, and then they go on their separate ways. Spotted Leaf is occasionally feeding this information to Fireheart as well for some reason. I mean, I guess it's a good reason. I thought I sounded a frog. I heard a frog. I don't know where I would have heard a frog. This is taking too long. And then the actual fight, River Clan attacks a Thunder Clan patrol led by Leopard Star, because Crooked Star died and now we have Leopard Star, and Stonefur's the deputy. I know he dies in the next book, and that's unfortunate. I forgot a spoilers warning again. And what was I talking about? River Clan, Leopard Star fight. That's when Mistyfoot and Stonefur find out that Blue Star is their mother. Also, Gray Stripe saves Fireheart, and Leopard Star is like, choose now, and he's like, Thunder Clan, duh. And so he's able to come back to Thunder Clan, which is nice. Let's see. Okay, that's all my main notes. I also want to say, like, so Blue Star is getting more senile. We've got really Dark Stripe showing his true colors here, meeting up with Tiger Star, and he claims that he doesn't know about the dogs. I'm not sure if I believe him. But also in Longtail, because we see him going to Fireheart truly scared and trying to save his clan. And Fireheart once again does the dumb thing where he gets mad and is like, no, he was a traitor and all this. And Cinderpelt's like, dude, you're doing the Blue Star thing. And he's like, no, I'm not. Oh, I am. Let's go talk to Longtail. And so Longtail is actually a big reason that they find out where the dogs are and make a plan to get rid of them by falling in the gorge, taking Blue Star with them. Um, we've got a couple of romances going on here. So Sandstorm and Fireheart spend pretty much the entire book fighting, but in the end, they both say I love yous. So that's a thing now, which is great, and I love it. We also still have Dust Pelt being really close to Fernpaw, and you see this especially when Fernpaw knew something. I don't know what it was. Oh no, I know what it was. It's when Swiftpaw and Brightpaw went off to face the dog. Swiftpaw died, and Brightpaw was her half her face is ripped away, and so they wanted her to become a warrior in case she died. So Blue Star did the thing and renamed her Lost Face, and everyone's mad about it. And I'm so glad that Fireheart changes her, or Firestar changes her name. Her name. And then let's see. Oh, and speaking of, Brightpaw and Cloudpaw, now Cloudtail, are getting along very well, and it's very obvious from the beginning that they have a very close bond and that Cloudtail is fiercely protective of her. And it was really sweet to see. I didn't remember them being so close from the very beginning, and I just think it's even cuter. And he's like the most mad about her being renamed Lost Face. Probably not possibly madder than the fans, but maybe more than every other cat. And so there was also Cloudtail, Lost Face, Tawny Kit and Bramble Kit become Tawny Paw and Bramble Paw. And I talked about the other things. Let's see. Oh, Brindleface was left as bait. Like she was killed by Tiger Star and left for bait for the dogs, and that was terrible. And then Snow Kit, they realized that Snow Kit was deaf. Speckletail was very mad about everyone knowing he was deaf. And right after we find out he's deaf, everybody hears a hawk and goes hiding, and he doesn't hear the hawk, and bye bye Snow Kit. And that was also very sad. At this point, I would just say that before they get to the lake territories, if you're named Snow, it's not good. I mean, Snow Fur, Snow Kit, we see a pattern here. Don't be Snow. Also, don't be a tortoiseshell, because you'll be really pretty, but you'll end up dead. Or something worse, like Maple Shade. My favorite part is probably Longtail's development as a character, because you see him really start to put the clan first, and that was really nice. I really enjoyed the little romances going on throughout this book. It was just a nice little reprieve from the bad things. So that was really, really nice. And then oddly enough, Blue Star's death, just because it's still so powerful. And do I really think that she would have come to her senses about how she had been acting on the moment of her death? Depends. Like, I logically no, but if you believe and maybe she was already halfway to Star Clan and she was more of her old self, something like that. But she said she had that realization before. So it seems a little too book friendly that she came to her senses. It made it a lot more heroic and stuff like that. My least favorite part was just Leopard Star. That's all I wrote. Leopard Star. I don't remember, like, I remember not liking her very much, and I'm thankful that she's not leader for super, super long. I really wish that we had more time with Tall Star, though I do think that he died at the right time. Um, and Crooked Star. Crooked Star, I felt like could have gone on a little bit longer, but I thought Tall Star and Crooked Star both are really, really good leaders right now. Um, I also don't remember. I didn't remember that Fireheart got so close to One Whisker. So that'll be something. I have never read One Star's Confession, but that'll be something I get to see more of in that, I assume. Um, and I think that's all of my notes. Um, it also, the dogs were German Shepherds. I thought that was an interesting point because it was a dog they'd never seen before, yes. But also, I'm guessing by the description, it's supposed to be a German Shepherd. But German Shepherds are literally sometimes called cat killers. Like, we lost a cat when I was 14, 13, going on 14. And we're pretty sure a couple of German Shepherds got him. And no hate to German Shepherds. I like German Shepherds. It makes sense for that to be the dog that is chosen for this particular thing. And I didn't remember them, like, very clearly, but I think I still remembered they were German Shepherds because in my brain, I always thought of them as brown and black. Anyway, so that's all for this video. I kept you longer than normal because I kept forgetting where I was. But I will be back soon with the last book of the Prophecies Begin, Darkest Hour. And then I have to read 3 super editions, 2 of which I've never read. So that's going to be fun. So stick around for that, and I will see you all soon.